Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's kind of funny to keep saying this. Looks like I have to figure out a new line. So, what do you have today? API test strategy. If you're looking for a strategy to test your APIs, I can safely assume that you have a good understanding of what APIs are. I don't want to get into explaining what APIs are in this video. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Like any new product has its own product specifications, API would have it too. If you look at API as a contract, then the first place that we need to look at is its specifications. First things we need to make sure that the endpoints are named correctly. They should reflect what they're serving. Naming conventions would play a very important role. Once we take care of the endpoints, we need to look at their types so that it reflects the right object model. We got to ensure that there are no missing functionalities. Endpoints should return the right data without losing anything. There should be no duplicate functionality as well, which means no two endpoints should return the same data. That would not look like nice design, right? Verify the relationships between the resources are reflected in the API correctly. Once we are done with the API specifications, we got to look at the test actions that we need to perform. The best place to start with would be the status codes. For example, a resource should return 201 created when a new resource is created, 401 if somebody is trying to unauthorized access, and 403 unpermitted, and 404 if the page is not found, and multiple other codes as well. You should also verify the response payload. Check the JSON body of the response for its validity, along with validating all the fields that are written in the body. Next place to look at is at the response headers. They are crucial for security and performance. Any vulnerabilities could be seen here. Application state should also be validated. This is optional and a good candidate for manual testing. Basic performance sanity needs to be done against every API request to validate the response times. This is crucial to API testing as it can make or break the user experience waiting for the page to load. Let's start with basic positive tests, also referred to as happy paths. All the functionality of the APIs that they are supposed to do when they're working absolutely fine. You know the request and you validate the response. Once we do, we're good with the happy paths. Extended positive testing, on the other hand, is also the happy paths but with optional parameters like query strings, etc. They will make a lot of combinations. Once we take care of the happy paths, we focus on all kinds of negative testing. We will start with valid inputs but in a negative way, and we'll also do with invalid inputs in a negative way. Both these would determine the robustness of the API in terms of handling invalid scenarios. As much as it sounds, destructive testing is kind of a misnomer. We don't really destroy anything, kind of expose the chinks in our API implementation. Here comes the most important part of our API testing: security, authorization, and permission tests. These will cover every aspect of security. Who can access it, who can't, all of them will be determined in this category. Validating it stays that way is a safe bet. As discussed earlier, performance testing is critical to user experience. In this day and age of speed, we would not want our end users to wait for data to be seen on the app longer than milliseconds. The moment we get into seconds, we're in serious trouble. Load and stress testing would determine how much our API can take, at what point it is going to give away, and when it gives away, will it give away gracefully. Usability testing is to validate the complexity of our APIs. We all would like it to be simple and easy to use, right? Coming to the test flows, we got to look at different aspects of API usage. We will start testing these APIs in isolation, that is executing a single API request and checking the response accordingly. We then get to multi-step workflow with several requests, which is testing a series of requests that are common user actions like getting the data, adding new data, modifying existing data, or delete unwanted data. All the 4 CRUD operations. Finally, we perform combined API and web UI tests. We have to ensure that the data integrity and consistency between the UI and the API and flag any discrepancies. Now that we have a good understanding of the test approach, we will look at each of the testing categories that we defined earlier. Functional testing, as in its name, is very clear that we are trying to test how the API functions. what it is being written for, what is its job. The outcome of this testing should tell us if the API functions correctly. The objectives of this would be very simple. To ensure the implementation is working as expected, implementation is as per the requirement specs, to prevent any regressions between code merges and releases. Once we take care of all the three, we are good with functional testing. Then comes negative testing. Negative testing is all about failing gracefully. No one likes an ugly exit, right? Especially when the stakes are high. Let's see some ways of doing negative testing. How does the API react if the request is missing an auth token or an invalid auth token? What if we purposefully send API requests missing or invalid incorrect parameters? Let's say an example of that would be to have an invalid value of an endpoint, invalid UUID in the path or in the query parameters. Payload can be modified to create invalid model, the one which violates the schema. Payload with incomplete model like missing fields or required nested entities. Invalid values with nested fields. Invalid values in the HTTP headers. Unsupported methods for endpoints. And a lot more. For negative testing, sky is the limit. Security testing is one of the most critical factors in determining how safe the APIs are. API should be designed keeping the correct security principles in mind. Fundamental security principles like deny by default, fail securely, least privilege, reject all illegal inputs, etc. We need to also check both positive and negative inputs and requests. API should only respond to correct authorization via agreed auth methods like bearer tokens, cookies, digest, etc. as defined in the specs. All unauthorized calls should be rejected. One important aspect in security is role permissions. Ensure the specific endpoints are exposed to a user based on his role. It is kind of role-based access control, except that here we are providing the information or acting on it based on the role's access permissions. Check if the specs say if the request should be only on secure web traffic. Data leak is a grave concern in today's all connecting networks. We got to ensure that internal data stays internally, not leaked outside to any public API in the response payloads. Finally, the rate limiting, throttling, and access control policies, they need to be thoroughly verified. Once we get past the functional and security aspects of the API, we need to be tuning it for performance. We will get to fine tune only if we benchmark the performance of the API. Performance testing helps a great deal to achieve this. API's primary performance indicators would be response time, the time it takes to receive a response from the API server. Latency, which is the measure of delay. TTFB and TTLB, time to first byte and time to last byte, are the metrics for determining the responsiveness of the API server. They all sound similar, don't they? But believe me, they're different in their own ways. The above parameters should be measured in all the scenarios like good network, bad network, congested network, low bandwidth network, network with delays, and network with jitter. Now comes the load testing part of it. We need to find the capacity limits of the API's ability to respond. We got to be looking at various load levels and the responsive ability of the API. Once we benchmark, we need to know how it would fail under stress. And once we know that we fail gracefully rather than abruptly disrupting the API services. Last but not the least, usability testing. I could have used this part a little earlier, but I thought keeping for the last would make it more sensible, because end of the day, everybody likes a user-friendly API than a complicated one, which no one can understand. It is safe to assume that people who are using this API can range from absolute novice to one hell of an expert. We would never target the latter, as he is damn good at what he is doing already. So we would always help the one who needs our help the most. For public APIs, we need to come up with a manual that gives instructions on how to use the API, starting from how to log in, how to authenticate, how to use the APIs, give some code examples, and some sample use cases to make sure that the end user understands the API to its best. Finally, that takes us to the end. Thank you for watching this video. Looking forward to meeting you another time. Till then, have a good time. Bye.